ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the King's Podcast. It's your host Eugene, aka G Money, and I'm with the co-host Cleo. Cleo, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm doing okay. Yeah. We are back. We're back. Yeah, we're back. We're back for the people. What are we talking about today? Today we're just going to be updating on Justice for Cwecwe, the case, okay, and how it's going. Yes, and we'll also talk about King Misizulu, Kazwelithini. What's going on with Misizulu? It's based on a leaked voice note. Yes. His conversation with his sister. Yes, so yes. We'll yeah, the siblings are fighting. Yes, we'll also talk about Donald Trump and the tariffs that he has put on multiple countries, including Zanzi, how it will affect the country economically and otherwise. And what other topic we have? We will be also talking about what's this? Career choices. Yeah, career choices. What do you want to talk about in terms of career choices? How it makes our life easier when we know what we want to do in life. Okay. But then even though it's hard to get there, yes, we all sometimes bias blindsided by things that we see. We choose wrong paths. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about the DA, ANC in Parliament voting for the VAT or not voting for the VAT. And how all the other parties are not involved. Yes, MK didn't pitch, or some other parties didn't pitch in terms of voting. Mm-hmm. And myself, I'm still on the same position. I am for the VAT, whereas whereas some people are not for the VAT. I am for the VAT. Mm-hmm. So we will see how it goes. And then we'll finish up with also is the one topic that we missed. The cost of living. The cost of living in South Africa, the cost of living. My producer is walking around the camera in a funny way, but let's see if she'll make it. Yeah. So definitely that's what we are going to be doing today. The cost of living in Mzansi. I think a lot of us are going through a lot in terms of finances, in terms of affording things. Some people can still afford a living. Some people can still afford many of the things that they could afford the previous year. So we'll finish up with that. So let's start today's show, ladies and gentlemen, with Justice for Cwecwe. Yes. That's number one. Yeah, what's been going on? We talked about that, and it's trending right now. Our videos are getting attention, so I think let's continue to push the message. Yeah. What's going on now? So apparently the media has been spreading false information about the principal sending his DNA for testing during this week. Like that was my number one trending list. It also mentioned that the Minister of Police, I'm not sure. Yes. I don't want to highlight things that I'm not sure. Yeah, I've heard about Minister. Yeah. What's up with him? He's the one who lied and said the principal did submit his DNA. Yes. And then the media ran with it. Question is, yes, why? Why did he lie? There are so many unanswered questions. Yeah. But I could answer that. I could find one reason why Minister of Finance could. In my opinion, I've been advocating or asking on social media that Ramaphosa needs to say something. I've not heard anything from Ramaphosa. So I think one reason why Minister of Police could lie is maybe because there was pressure from the government levels, because it's part of the cabinet. There was pressure for somebody to say something, somebody in high position officially saying something, because I've heard something from Fikile Mbalula, but casually. He was just speaking in terms of when he had a press conference, he said something about these guys who are raping kids. They must be dealt with, what, but it was casual. But I think there was pressure on the government to say something. Yeah. So maybe they thought that they could stabilize social media, because social media is pushing and putting pressure on the white principal to take the test. So I think the government or the police minister, I don't think he could say that by himself without the support of the team or the cabinet. So any other person involved in cabinet wanted to send that message, and it went wrong. If they did allegedly say lies that the DNA was done, it was trying, in my opinion, I think they were trying to stabilize the public because there's so much trends and hashtags going on. What do you think? What do you think is the reason why he lied?
I don't think that's the reason because it also mentioned that Afriforum has backed away from the case.
Yes.
Like they just said they're no longer
They're no
involved.
longer
They don't want to
involved.
be
Okay.
involved because they've already been involved in a lot.
Yes,
It
yes.
just
The backlash.
Yeah, the
There was
backlash.
backlash because of that. So
Yeah.
what do you think is the reason why minister could allegedly tell a lie about the DNA being done when it's not?
I don't know. Honestly.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
would he
yeah.
lie about it? Like,
Yeah, man. I think
maybe it was because it was also bringing a lot of attention to the police system.
yes,
How they are doing everything in their system and how
yes,
everything's looking on their backs.
yes, yes.
So I understand if they also want people to back off a bit, or maybe they
Yeah,
just afraid
yeah,
that
yeah.
corruption will also be involved in
Yes,
it.
yes,
So you never know.
yes. But I think let's watch and see. And also a lot of people were commenting on our videos to say that we must be careful about saying things that we didn't research or we don't have facts about. So it's always safer to say allegedly. So yeah, allegedly the principal is still not off the hook.
Yeah.
So if it's true that the DNA was not done or the minister allegedly lied that the DNA was done when it's not done, then which means every other suspect, including the principal, the driver, is still a suspect. Those who have not been tested. Those who were tested, of course, they can be eliminated since they
But
don't.
also because they don't want to share all the information based on the case.
Yeah,
because if they do that, then the case don't go
it's
to
open.
court.
Yeah, it becomes open to a lot of manipulation, and it can be disputed.
Yeah.
The fact when you go to court, some of the evidence that you have shared already with the public, it works against you.
Invalid because
Yes.
you've shared it with the public. Why did you
Yeah,
share it with the
for
public
sure.
when it's already a court case?
Yeah, you contaminate the process, the legal process.
Yeah, so probably that's one of the reasons why he also lied about it, so that
Yes.
they can do it at the back and go through the court system, and that the matter doesn't get. Oh, so the mother was in a car accident this week.
Yes, I saw that the beginning of the week, like early, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
Since
involved in a
our
car
last
accident.
episode, she's been in the news for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything weird there?
I was about to say that.
Yes.
Kind of weird.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but
Yes.
it could also be an accident. You never know.
Yeah.
You never
Accidents
know.
happen, and
And
it's a rainy season.
she's also in the police system, so
She works for SEPS.
yeah.
Yes.
So
maybe
maybe that's why she was in. Maybe she was in a conflict with someone.
Yeah,
Or maybe
yeah.
we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. We should always expect or suspect the worst. Maybe somebody did tamper with her brakes. Since she works for SEPS, she was
Maybe it
probably
was also
maybe she was
attempted.
Yeah. It's possible.
Yeah.
What else? What else? And also, since we talked about the topic of Cwecwe, there's also been other children who've been in the news because this thing is getting a lot of attention. So other cases are showing up.
Are now popping up.
Yeah. I heard
Is it
about
of
that
the
case.
principal or
A school teacher
school teacher? Oh,
in Pretoria, Hammanskraal. In Pretoria, Hammanskraal, school teacher, 58-year-old, allegedly raped a 13-year-old in a primary school. In primary, imagine, maybe grade 7. I think 13-year-old is grade 7. Eh? If she failed or something, she's probably grade 7 or grade 6. Ne? Yeah, and then apparently that happened around the same time when Cwecwe was raped, September, October last year, multiple times. Allegedly, the school principal there, a black guy, reported the case or opened the case, and informed the perpetrator that a case has been opened. Then the perpetrator acted like he was taking himself in or handing himself over to the police, and then he ran off. He switched off his phone into thin air. Yeah.
Gone.
But now they caught him. Now they caught him because that story caught attention last week. After we dropped the episode about Cwecwe, it caught attention and then they finally got him. He appeared. Yeah, probably he'll get bail and all of that. So because this case is,
I don't think he'll get bail. But
you'll
he
be
ran.
surprised. You'll be surprised. People get bail for murder and other cases, even molesting children and
That's it.
huge cases.
Maybe, yeah. But then he ran off.
Yeah. Yeah, he ran off. They caught him.
He's
A 58-year-old man
Oh my goodness.
raping
He's
a
about to
13-year-old.
retire. What now?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, you know what, we shouldn't stop talking about Cwecwe, and I don't think people are stopping. Though I can see on social media people are slowing down because they're like, if they still believe this story that the DNA was done, they're saying we should apologize to the man. Should we keep the same energy when we go to apologize because we were so adamant that he could have died.
So, because on Facebook, people are still doing the marches. Everyone is still announcing on the marches and the days and how it's going to be done. When people go on lives on TikTok, I mean, they still announce that, guys, there's still a march going on this day. When? How?
Yeah, people are still conversing and advocating for the case to be given attention, which I like. And also because of the news that were reported in the media that the DNA was done, I think 50% of people are holding back in terms of the way we were pushing. The way we were pushing, we were going hard. We were like swearing at the man, insulting him. Some people are saying now, guys, if he's not guilty or he's negative in terms of DNA, we should slow down. But I don't agree. I
don't agree. Because why did he first refuse to
the expulsion of the kid from the school?
Yeah, that's eye-opening. Unless the one who was above him is the one who asked him to do it.
Yes. Before we move on from this topic, there is news that the mother was on the day of the thing. The mother, or there was a community party of some sort. Some people are saying the police should look at some of the suspects or potential suspects who were at the party. What type of party was this? Did you hear anything about?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, some people in the media, they're saying, oh, while the child was getting raped, the mother was somewhere in a community party. The child went to the party also. The rapist could have been there. There's some
looking at the
stories.
fact that the child was wearing a uniform and there was blood on the uniform tracksuit. So that's what they're looking at. They didn't even notice that the child was raped that time. So if there was a community party, then that means the child was not wearing a uniform.
Yeah. There's a lot of stories that don't make sense, and people are just spreading lies. Some, social media, there are news reporters on social media that are not really legit. So we should be careful in terms of what we read, but we should still push for the case to go to court because it's not even at court yet. No one is arrested, no one is charged. Everyone is still just a suspect for now.
That's not a good thing.
We need to keep pushing. So if you are out there and you agree with what we're saying that this case is not over yet, let's keep on pushing. Let's make sure we give it the attention that it deserves. And let's not give up. Let's not give up because many kids every other week they keep popping up with being victimized by elderly men, principals, school teachers, caretakers, people they trust. So it's very dangerous out there. So that's why we're really talking about this once again, and we're giving it as much time as possible. We're talking about it as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So yes. So yeah, what else you wanna say before we move on to the next?
Guys, this thing of raping kids, it's not nice.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's sad. Like having it's making us parents have trust issues in the system.
Yeah. Royalty. Let's talk about royalty. South Africa.
Even though, man, I don't like royalty stories and anything.
Royal things,
Royal things, celebrities.
Yeah.
I'm not the.
You're not into that
I'm
much.
not into
You're not
that much.
You're
Like,
not like a
when I
star.
hear a rumor, I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
You
I
know
just
what?
turn back, and then when I hear
Yes.
politics, that's when I turn. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm putting my 2 cents
yeah,
in.
into politics. But you know, in South Africa, kings, queens, traditional leaders, they are part of the Cocta. Yeah, it's Cocta, ne?
Kota.
Cocta, COGTA. It's like an institution that looks after traditional leaders and all
Still
the.
alive.
You say?
It's
Yeah, it's still alive. So it's part of the structure. Kings and traditional rulers, Queen Jaji, the Bapedi Kingdom, the Zulu. We're gonna talk about the Zulu Kingdom. King Misizulu. We'll talk about the Venda Kingdom. So they're in the news right now. Let's start with the Misizulu thing. What's
going
going?
two kingdoms.
Ne, which one?
Zulu and Xhosa.
Ne? Oh, the Danidlevo,
I've
yeah.
never heard of any and the Swahili kingdom.
Yeah, you
Those
see,
are
there
the
are,
kingdoms
there
that I
are.
know.
There's also Mpumalanga. I don't know if there's a kingdom there, but maybe it's under the Zulu. But
Maybe it's under the
is it called?
Swahili. No, it's
Yeah.
actually.
Let's talk about the Zulu one. Then we'll move on to the Venda Kingdom. There's a lot happening. We are hanging in limbo with the Venda Kingdom. The king or the former Ndumi Venda King Tony Mpepu Ramabulana is in the news. He's in court fighting with his niece for the chair to be king or to be ruler of the Venda. We'll talk about that, but I'll explain why they're fighting.
He's fighting with
Siblings, family rivalry, fighting for the chair.
It's not a song people.
Yeah. There's also King Misizulu, right?
Yes,
King
Misizulu.
Misizulu. Before we talk about today's thing, there is in the previous year or what, he was in court for divorce or something. Not really divorce, but his wife was fighting him when he wanted to take another wife.
The first wife?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he was in court for that, or he was in the news for that. So
yeah, in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it was this year.
Yeah, it was this year.
So what about now? What's going on right now?
Now he's fighting with his sister.
His sister, blood sister.
I do not know, but
Oh, half sister.
We do not know because the voice note is saying something else,
Yes. And the tone of the voice note is sad, is disrespectful.
It's kind of like how he's reacting like this. Was it because of the way that they treated him?
But
before he even became
before
king?
He became king, okay.
Or
How did they treat him?
He wasn't treated like a son of the family. He was treated like an outsider because he's not born.
He's not full blood. He's not full royal blood.
His mother is not royalty, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
That happens also in Mubango. In Mubango, Azwindini married Susan.
Yeah.
And Susan, who's not of royalty, is just a girlfriend, a love. And then they have a love child, but according to the tradition, they don't allow that. But now he's king, and Misizulu is king, I mean. Yeah. And he's being contested. So he's going to court in the next few months for people are contesting that he was not appointed properly.
Seriously?
Yeah, there's a court case that's going to be...
but then the will said he was the heir.
Yeah, but...
Because he's the first son.
Okay.
Even though it's
let's look at King Goodwill Zwelithini. Was he put on that chair because of the will, or was he fully deserving of the chair?
His father said he was his first son. According to royalty,
yeah, the first son should be.
The first son is the one who's
gonna take the chair. Yes.
Regardless
of whether you are not of royal blood, your mother's side, and all that.
Even this guy, what's his name? The one who was the leader of LFP.
Yeah. He's also a chief.
Yeah,
Chief
he was the one who supported Misizulu.
Yeah, I heard that. When he was still alive, that was in the news.
Yeah.
Yes. But let's talk about what's really going on with him and the sister. Why are they fighting? Because I read they're fighting for a property that was left by King Zwelithini.
But according to the voice note, the sister was asking for something from him.
Yeah,
she even addressed him as Booty, and the dude was like, I'm not your brother. My
I
sister.
heard that. I heard that.
I'm not
And
your
when
brother.
he
You're my
addresses
sister.
him, when he addresses her, he says Nina, like you and your other siblings. So he's separating himself from his siblings.
Yeah, because I think it's also because of how they treated him before he became king. So why are they coming now and sucking up to him? And it's fine.
Whatever. Maybe they're asking for money or asking for help, and he doesn't want to help. Yeah. But I saw.
But then I think at the beginning, before he even became king,
yes,
he was with his siblings, even though they treated him unfairly.
Yes.
He still loved his siblings. He still never spoke about his feelings
badly. They didn't treat him well.
But then, why now?
But to me, the way I see it, I think the Zulu kingdom, it's supposed to go like that. It's supposed to be, you can't just have like a cruise. You can't just cruise into your chair and rule for 30 years with no issues. There's gonna be issues.
The only way to cruise in the chair is if you're using witchcraft.
Yeah, and there's a lot of witchcraft in the things of royalty. Yeah. There's a lot of multi that gets used. People get killed. That's why when you grow up, they move you to another village as a king, as a future king. They move you somewhere far away so that you come back grown and you are alive. Because if they know you are going to be king when you are young, they're done with you.
That's what they did with Misizulu.
He was sent
hidden.
away. Yeah. He was hidden. Yeah.
For that same reason.
Yes. I don't know much about King Misizulu, but because you know, yeah, I think because of the fact that you are Zulu. KZN. Yeah, you're from KZN.
I know a lot.
Yes.
The only reason why I know a lot is because when the coronation was being done, my grandmother was like, come sit, watch with us.
Oh, you watched the coronation?
Yeah, my grandmother was like that. She was like, come sit and let's watch. We have to watch it together. We have to know what's going on in the world.
And that was not that long ago. With Misizulu, it was like 3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was not that long ago. Yes, I remember.
So this is his 3rd year.
Yes, and the coronation happened in a stadium or something. It was like packed.
It wasn't like there was a traditional one and then there was everyone.
Yes. Okay.
So there are 2 different types. Traditional was back at home and then the other one was at Muslim Media Stadium.
Yes. Okay. Talking about kingdom and the kingship, the Bavenda kingdom is also under contest.
What's going on there?
There's a man that ever since I was young, like growing up, I always knew this guy is the king of kings in the Bavenda kingdom. There are other chiefs, multiple villages and multiple regions. They have their own kings.
You did mention that last week in the last episode.
Yeah, it's like there's multiple chiefs under a king, similar to the Zulu. But with this one, that's the one I know. But I never knew when I was young that he's actually just sitting in for the fact that his brother passed away, and his brother had a daughter who was supposed to succeed him. So when the brother of the current king died, his daughter apparently or allegedly is the one who's supposed to take the chair because it's a birthright. So
birthright what? What's your birthright?
The royal blood dictates who's the next king. So Misizulu is the firstborn of Zwelithini Goodwill, so he must be the next. So with the Bafenda one, it's similar. But what's happening is that the man who's ruling doesn't want to get off the chair. So he's in court, or his niece took him to court to say, uncle, the chair you are sitting on, it's supposed to be me. You took it from me because I was still young. Well, what? So
he's been on the chair because his niece was young.
That's what I understand from the media.
Was it
many
from
people,
the wheel?
No, it was not from the wheel. Many people understand it like that. And probably the daughter was sent away also because she's the firstborn. So when her father died, she was nowhere to be found and she was young. The Royal Council, there's the Royal Council, decided because now the chair is empty, it cannot be empty.
It cannot be empty.
You, as the younger brother, you sit on that chair. So he's been enjoying, he's been rubbing shoulders with the rich and the powerful, the politicians. So now the daughter is married, she's grown, or the niece, she wants her chair.
She's married.
Yeah, she's married to another royal blood also.
Oh,
Yeah.
but then she can't because
Why?
she's married into another family.
You know it better because you're Zulu, and Zulu people they have knowledge about this.
I get it when they say when you marry into another family. I think it's part of the royal blood.
Yes.
You cannot come back home
and rule
to rule
well,
a kingdom
whereas
whereby
you
already are married and you're in another kingdom.
But she's married into a lesser dynasty because there's a umbrella dynasty which she's fighting for. She's married to another royal blood who is a king or who is royalty in another village or another region. So there is the people of Mpepu and the Ramapurana people, Chivase people, Mediaba to Chivase. There's a Chivase side. I don't know much about it because I'm like you. I don't care about this thing. But now because it's in the news, I'm listening. So she's married to a lesser dynasty. There is an umbrella dynasty that she's fighting for.
So
and she's
how did she find out about that dynasty?
I guess Bomakadzi, you know Bomakadzi from Mubango.
Yeah.
Bomakadzi will share. And Bomakadzi is the one who keeps the secret. So if there is a secret, or a child who's sent away because she's gonna be king or he's gonna be king, Makazi will know those things. Or where is this child? Where is she living right now in hiding? So she knew when she was growing up, you are here because you are not close to your father or your mother because we are keeping you safe here. So she knew as she's growing up, obviously, they will tell her, treat yourself well, don't get pregnant with these common people like the likes of us. You know, you're gonna be queen one day.
Now. That's
it's been 5 years. She's been fighting for this thing for 5 years.
For 5 years, imagine, and
she's
still fighting.
She's been fighting for this thing for 5 years. So it's in court. It's been going back and forth, and there is some linkage to Mashudu.
Yeah, let it go. You are married. Let it go.
Yeah.
You are married. Let it go now.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
My opinion is similar.
There's nothing you can do about it. Like, let it go. You are married into another family, into another real family. And stay there. Be a wife, the queen there, and not queen at the.
You want to be a boss now, yeah.
It can't happen.
It's weird.
It's impossible. Unless she's having problems with her family.
And the funny thing is, if she gives birth, or maybe she has kids already, the child that she gives birth to, who is he going to preside over? This dynasty or this home?
They cannot take over her dynasty. They have to take over the father's
dynasty. Father, yeah. So she's complicating
things. The father comes first.
Yes.
That's another.
I'm not a fan, and I've said it on social media. This Mashudu girl or Mashudu woman, I don't know. She must go and play far.
Okay, let it go.
Yeah, Mashudu, if you're listening, the queen. I'm not a fan. And other people, majority, they're supporting her. They want it, but I'm like, there are so many loopholes there.
Maybe it's because they've never had a queen in power.
Yeah. And the royal council they are saying that, she can't be because she's a woman. We've never had an umbrella or big.
Not just a woman, a married one.
A married one. She wants it all. She went to school, she went to varsity, she got married, now she wants to rule. Me, I'm not really a fan. I don't know if you guys believe this Lavender Queen or the higher, your highness should be given a seat. I think let the court make a recommendation. They must look at all the facts and recommend.
Unless she's just she just wants to know her father more, perhaps.
Maybe,
or maybe she also wants to have let them have something from the royal family. I don't know. You never know though, right?
Yeah.
Perhaps their name as well, because when you grew up in the royal family, you come under them. When you go to another family, you take your royal family and the husband's family.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on in politics. Last week we had VAT issues.
Yeah, we were talking about VAT.
Yeah,
how it's gonna affect our economy and everything.
And I said I was a fan of VAT.
And I supported you. Even though I didn't have any disagreed point of view. Your point of view was very substantial.
Yes. So I think the country is divided. We are divided in terms of what we believe should be the next step. So what happened in Parliament this week?
So apparently there was a meeting in the Parliament whereby a few parties were not invited to attend.
Okay.
The parties that agreed about the VAT, they were the ones who were there. And other parties who did not agree with the VAT, they were not invited.
So, I thought it was like a National Assembly, so everyone is invited.
I also thought the same. And when you listen to how it was judged and everything, no one disagreed, they all agreed. So which means
the ones who didn't agree didn't have a chance to raise their hands to say, I don't agree.
Knowing very well that if they did come, I think one of the reasons why they didn't send an invitation for the meeting was because they knew if they did talk about it with them around, it wasn't going to pass. It wasn't going to go through. They were not going to finish the entire meeting. They were not going to succeed with the voting. And everything.
Because they need enough votes to pass a law or to pass a budget or put a stamp on a budget. Because that budget was announced by the minister, but they still need enough votes in the assembly to authorize it.
There was also something that Ramaphosa said about the DA. Them not supporting them for the VAT issue, whatnot. I don't remember exactly what he said.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But he said something that the DA thinking that they're in power, whatnot.
Yes, they are using this VAT thing to hold ANC ransom. Or because of the NHI, because of the land expropriation bill. So there are things that DA politically they're fighting, and then they're using this VAT issue to hold ANC ransom to say we're not gonna vote for your VAT thing if you don't,
vote for us.
You don't retrieve the NHI bill, the National Health NHS. Is it NHI? National Health Insurance Bill that is supposed to cut off or limit medical aids, and now everybody will depend on the government. So the DA is pushing for that so that it must not happen.
They're also pushing they're wanting Western Cape to be
their own independent state within a state. Yes, so those are some of the things that Ramaphosa said, and also Bofikile Mbalula and other, I think, deputy president. They are saying that the DA wants to use the VAT thing and the budget thing to fight. And Ujulius and MK party, they are saying that there is no GNU, there is no government of national unity, because the people who are supposed to be ruling, they are fighting each other. The DA is going this way, ANC is going this way. The country is divided.
That's why they're also going with this.
Because they are fighting for different things. They have their own agenda, and then they are using this VAT thing to fight.
Which also proves that DA's votes will lead.
They don't really matter.
They were very eyebrow-raising because how come DA won in Gauteng when there's more FF?
And Gauteng is like predominantly black. There's ANC, there's MK, there's EFF.
Even though MK is new.
And Action SA.
Even though MK is new.
Yes.
They did.
They did put some punches in. So that's what happened in Parliament. So my point of view in terms of VAT, because they're saying that instead of the VAT going live, the increase 0.5% in 1st of April, we missed that deadline because they went to Parliament just this week. So they're gonna go probably by 1st of May instead of 1st of April. It was supposed to be active already. So they want it to go ahead first.
Didn't they increase it to 1%?
It's 0.5% this year and 0.5% next year.
But they're saying that percent has increased now.
Maybe.
No, because they're looking at how accountants and everyone in the financial
there are
background,
different
how
companies must change the VAT calculations in their companies, their accounting softwares, computer softwares. Yeah. So yeah, man, I think there's a lot going on with the country. There's a lot that we must pay attention to. I'm still of the view that VAT should go up. Many people they don't believe it should go up, but I think it should go up because if you have not noticed, South Africa is very poor. If you have been to government offices, you will see police stations, you will see Department of Labor. They are not in good condition. It just shows you that our country, maybe finances are misappropriated, they are put in the wrong things, spent in the wrong areas, or we just don't have money at all. So we need to collect more money.
What do you think about the development of the cities, each and every time, in each and every province? I mean, that the ruling party is in power.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
The development.
Developments have changed. Like from 2010 till now. It has changed.
Yeah, things have changed. So I think there are areas that are being, developed for commercial reasons. So or for industrial, like Durban. You cannot let the roads in Durban be in bad condition because trucks pick up stuff from the harbor, from the ports to the inner provinces, from coastal to the inner. So it makes sense to develop more of the commercially, dependent, where the country is dependent on these provinces for commerce. Joburg, every city, every town in Joburg, there's always development happening. Roads are being built, buildings are being developed, new residential areas. So you can't develop a city that does not have an influx of people. What are you developing it for? If that city doesn't have people coming to it, you're just developing for what reason? So you want to develop Durban, you want to develop Eastern Cape. You can't go and develop Middleburg, for example. I'm not saying that Middleburg is bad in Mpumalanga, but there aren't hundreds of thousands of people going there to work and live there. There are a few people, it's limited, but Durban, this province, Cape Town, obviously, and it's becoming a tourist attraction.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of tourist market, so you want to develop cities like that. Joburg, you can't let that go. Pretoria, you cannot let that. But you can't go now and you want to invest in Valcom. I'm not saying Valcom is a bad. I'm not saying Valcom is a bad city, but commercially, industrially, you can't put similar finances as a government like you would put in your Durban.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of movement on inventory, cars. Eastern Cape, example, is a big province, and there are areas that are being used for Mercedes-Benz, for Isuzu.
But it's not developed.
Yeah, it's not developed, but there is prospects or there is promising potential because Mercedes-Benz, they manufacture their cars there. Isuzu, they do their cars there. And it's a tourist attraction. But it's not as huge as Joburg. Okay,
I don't know.
You don't know about that? Yeah, it's a big city. It needs attention. It needs attention.
Yeah,
so,
it does.
Yeah, in my opinion, VAT should go up. We need to look after the elderly with that money. We need to look after the poor, the 370. Like people are getting that money should come from somewhere. And if the government is telling you that there's no money, why are you not believing them? They need to collect money. So, and also remember that when you do business with government, when you have a tender and you sell, I don't know, you sell spades and forks, digging forks, or you sell sand and cement to the government for them to build something, you're gonna charge them VAT. In your invoice, you're gonna have VAT on that invoice. So government will pay you plus VAT. So it's not just about you as a human being. Government takes care of many things. When they buy medicine, they buy medicine from local companies.
True.
They buy medicine from overseas.
Yeah.
There's going to be tax that the government will pay when I'm a producer of medicine and I'm selling medicine to them, I put VAT on it, they're gonna pay VAT.
Yeah.
So it's not just about us complaining that when we buy bread, when we buy meat or alcohol, there's VAT on it. Government, when they buy stuff, there's VAT on that too. So we must understand.
Yeah.
And that money that government pays goes to SARS.
Yeah.
And SARS distribute the money to different departments, Reserve Bank, Department of Finance. They use that money to do different things in the country for the people within South Africa.
Which is
So
good.
yeah. So what else can we talk about in terms of SA? Your friend Donald Trump.
Hey, before we get
before we get that, yes.
I wanted to ask you, did you hear about what's happened at the clinic?
No. And we live just close by.
Yeah.
What happened?
When was it? Monday, Tuesday.
This week?
Tuesday, yes.
Beginning of April.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
Tuesday, so, ne?
Yes.
I don't know the full story.
Yeah.
I just know this
Yes.
a bit. There were people who were there standing asking for people their SA ID cards.
Okay.
Checking if they're South African.
By the gate.
By the gate.
Yes.
Checking if they're South African and that the clinic can only have South African citizens.
Wow. Okay.
And those people are from the what's this? Let's say ICE, but South African ICE.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what ICE is?
ICE, no.
It's the
In case of emergency.
no, it's not.
What's South African ICE?
It's what's this? The
watchman.
No, it's
Watchdog. What is South African ICE?
Wait. I think of this word. You know ICE in America, right? The people who go over the border and go into America from Mexico.
Oh,
immigrants.
I get the concept. Yes. Okay, the immigrants. Immigrant services.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear what. Oh, yeah. Immigration services.
Yeah.
It's ICE. IS. Okay. Oh, I did. ICE.
Yeah.
Immigration services. Okay.
ICE, like from South Africa.
Yes.
They're checking if there are any illegal
who are coming to look for medical attention at the clinics. So that happened at Denver?
Yes, it happened in the morning.
Wow.
And then the Minister of Health came
there.
with
Wow.
the journalists.
Yes.
Apparently was taking pictures of the clinic.
Okay.
And when they got there, he asked people, are you happy? People were not happy.
Yes. Which people? Local
everyone.
people?
Everyone's not happy with their services at the clinic.
Yes. Denver clinic is, I've heard about that.
It's not a great clinic.
Not in great condition.
It's not the condition.
Yeah.
It's the services.
Yes, it's not in great condition.
The services
Service-wise.
are poor to the level of poor.
It depends on the people who are working there. If they're
It's not the people, it's the system.
Okay.
The system that they're using. I get it when you go to the clinic, you only inquire a date. You only need a date.
Denver clinic is by Shell.
Yeah.
What?
You only need a date. In any clinic over Africa.
South Africa.
You only need a date. There, you need a time as well.
What time did you come?
What time you gonna come? What time is available on their system, on their computer for that certain date that you're coming?
Yeah.
Meaning, whenever you go there, they only look at your time and the date.
Yes, that doesn't make sense.
So let's say you get there, when your appointment was at 7:30, you get there at 9. They're gonna take you in because your date, your appointment was at 7:30. Regardless of how it looks. They're gonna still take you in and then you're still gonna wait.
Wow.
You're gonna wait there for hours just to see a nurse.
A nurse. Yeah, I've heard about that. My wife been to the clinic. So with the baby and everything. Yeah.
The baby situation is even worse.
So it's not on pregnant women.
It's worse. Like
wow. Yeah. The tariff. You're not No, we are rolling. We're continuing. The tariff, I don't want to dwell into the tariff. So we shouldn't dwell into the tariffs with President Trump. Let's rather focus on career choices. Like what? When you were in high school, your final year, what was happening amongst your age group? What were people focused on in terms of I'm doing this, I'm gonna be a chartered accountant, I'm gonna be an engineer? What was like popular there?
So me,
yes, personally.
personally, my class, my form class, 12B, shout out. 12B. Yes. Yeah, I was 12B too. We were doing accounting, business studies, consumer studies. Yes. Consumer studies based on cooking. Yes. It's like hospitality, but not, we don't look at the design of things. Yeah. Or you cook it and it tastes great. Yes. Yeah, so we were like, very. That time, my class were like more into accounting. They were going for accounting. Commercial. I'm not going to. Okay. Yes. I don't want to. You don't want suffer and make them bring. And you're talking to someone who's in accounting. I'm sorry. So I agree. No, I agree with that. No, like point of view. Accounting is too much. It's too stressful. My uncle is into accounting. It bends your brain cells. Yeah, my uncle is. Those who are accountants, it bends your brain cells. Yeah. My uncle, my grandpa was also into accounting. Your grandpa, uncle, and so your age group, they wanted you to go there. My friend group, it was just us 4 ladies. Yes. Like it was me, my other friend from Durban, three friends who are still in Durban. Yes. One of them is still, I'm not sure that she's done with it. Okay. But she was doing BCom in accounting. Okay. Two of them are doing BCom in accounting. Okay. One of them is doing, what is she doing now? Something in environmental. Our producer is literally just wanting to irritate us. Yes. So you say your other friends were in. Two of my friends who are my classmates were into accounting. I was not. Yeah. Why? Why didn't you? Yeah. I don't. But you saw your uncle and your granddad. No, it wasn't even that. Yeah, you just didn't feel it. I just don't feel accounting anymore. It was fine in high school, not now. Yes. Now I'm done with accounting. Okay. And my teacher was also into accounting. He had his own business, which is tax. That did tax, yeah. Wow. It was a lot. I couldn't do that much accounting. Yes. What were the other kids doing? Because I think it's very important. Most of them went into accounting. It's very important to look at the landscape of the next 10 years. If you just matriculated in 2023, 2020, look at the landscape of careers in the next 10 years. Accounting is overcrowded. Too much. A lot. Other careers there, they still have a lot of space, like your engineering, like your cloud computing, technology. I'm running away from IT. I was saying, going to IT business. Now, if I had like the capacity of going into IT, I would have done IT. If I wanted to do IT, I would have gone to IT. Yeah. And if you look at the landscape, the fourth industrial revolution is coming. So accounting will have less space right there in the next 30 years of our evolution. So it will make sense for somebody to focus on careers that are more relevant in the next 10, 30 years. So what do you think are those careers like? What are you thinking right now if you are not thinking accounting? IT, engineering. IT, okay. Also in campus when CUT. Engineering is huge. Engineering, there are not many students who go through with it. And it's difficult. It's difficult. You do calculus and other mathematics that high school kids, they have no business doing that if they're not good at maths. Yeah. Even those who are good at maths, they struggle. They struggle with, engineering, mathematics, calculus, and all those. Also designing. Designing is the future. Industrial. Okay. That one. Okay. And there are many types of engineering, electrical, industrial. I don't know what other engineering is there. Aeronautical, whatever. Yeah. Aerodynamics. Yeah. Chemical engineering. Yeah. I work with chemical engineers at my workplace. I think they are the future. Where I work, I'm an accountant in a chemical producing company called Interchem. I'm plugging Interchem right now. Shout out to Interchem. They took us to a year-end party last week. So I work with engineers, chemical engineers. So I think they are the future because let's say food shortages, those things will be addressed by people who things like
who think like engineers with food production and processing and all that. You need people like that. And also electrical engineers. Electricity is a big crisis in the country, in the continent. So you need electrical engineers, chemical engineers. So you can't make food without chemicals.
True.
You can't produce drinks. You can't produce lotion without chemicals. So our company does that. And also students who are learning in chemical engineering, they're getting a lot of opportunities because the clothing we wear, the fabric and the colors, there's chemicals in there. The food we eat, there's chemicals. Everything we see around us when those things are made, chemical engineers, they're involved in making sure the stability of the plastic that we see or that we sit on or that we use in your glasses, the balance of the chemicals. Chemical engineers, they know these things technically, right? So I think you are right. Those careers, technology.
Also, the doctor field is being pegged.
It's pegged. Yeah, you're right. Because employment is tough there as a doctor.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's the advice
they don't
you
even
have.
post anything about nurses or doctors being needed.
Yes.
Because I think they take it from within.
Yeah.
Like they see it
straight from varsity.
Straight from varsity, and if you do practicals over there,
then they take it. Some of them they won't be taken because they can't take everybody. Some doctors are unemployed, qualified doctors. So it's difficult.
And they can't even open their own practices.
Yeah, it's difficult. You need to have exposure and you need money. You're gonna go and work. Yeah, you're actually right because I know some doctors. Because when our child was born, there were many doctors working under another doctor. I was asking myself, how is this possible? Which means they don't have the resources to start their own. Because you need a building, you need equipment, technology, you need admin, you need credibility to become a credible doctor.
And
so you need money. Yeah. You don't need 100,000. You need a lot of money to open your own practice.
True. So because you need a lot of furniture, you need a lot of
equipment.
You
need computers. You need staff.
You need to pay people their
You must pay people.
salaries. Yeah.
So what else do you wanna let your age group know? Maybe I can throw in a few advice before we close about career choices. Those who are in your position, the position you were in 3 years ago.
I would say if your first choice you don't get accepted in it, it's fine. Yeah, there's always something else.
Yes.
Like for myself, I applied for 3 things.
Okay.
One was admin finance. I don't even about.
You don't like finance.
And another one was event management, which is also a nice thing.
Yeah,
do something that you love. Something that will be flexible for you. Like
you wanted to do that where DUT or KZN? Oh, a TUT. Yeah. Do you have TUT in KZN or in PTA?
Yeah, in PTA.
Yes, you applied for events, finance, and what else?
The credit management.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they were spread out. They were spread out.
They were not spread out. It was the same department, so they only took me for one, which was my first choice, admin.
And you were like,
I don't want to do it.
Yes.
It was a bummer, but one thing is for sure. Yeah. Even though you don't like it, try your best to enjoy it.
Okay, it's fine. We carry on. We're almost done. Yeah. Yes.
And you're not gonna get to what you love the most.
Yes.
At first, the first try, you will get there after years of doing the same thing.
When you review your life,
you're like,
then you will go to what you love. But first,
what you love, you realize it late.
Yes.
But then it's also optional.
Makes sense. Yeah. I agree with you on that. Yeah, my advice.
Like you,
accounting. Yeah, accounting. To be honest, I'm working in it, but I don't like it. Yeah, I'm more into, my spirit is more out there as a hustler. Free-minded. Yeah, my passion is also with creativity. Being, not doing something repetitive, but for the sake of the kids, for the sake of making money or making a living, because there are things we do for a living, things we do for fun. I'm sure there are doctors right now who do music like Dr. Doom. I don't know. You don't know Dr. Tu. There are, yeah, he's a singer. There are, yeah, there are people who act on TV for fun, but they are, you know, they work for government, for example. Like our sister, I forgot her name, Dawn Tandek. Tandeka Key, Mango. Oh, Dawn. Yeah. Dawn. She worked for government in an office daily, and then while she was going for auditions. So there are things we do for passion and things we do. She worked for government. Yeah, she worked in an office. So those are the things that I would advise to say that understand yourself. I didn't know myself when I was young, but as I grow older, like you said, you're gonna go back to the things you love. But at first, do what you have to do so that later on you can do what you love. You can do this what we're doing right now. Yeah. Yeah, you can sit and talk looking at a camera. You can go to another studio and be shot at by cameras, act on TV, sing in front of people, entertain people as a comedian because you are funny or you are outgoing, you are talkative. But at the end of the day, you need to get clothes. Yeah. You need to get food. So you go and work somewhere and get a career or a certificate that will help you 2 years or 3 years and go and work, and then after that you can start doing your passion. Sure. So those who are in metric, that's my advice. Those who are in varsity, while you are in varsity for 3 years, learn about yourself, discover yourself, so that after school you can do what you love. While you're in varsity, you don't learn a lot about yourself. Sure. You just be tight. For sure. Let me pass this and go through whatever I'm going through. Yeah, so because after you graduate, it's not easy. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. You may spend 5 years like me, not knowing what you wanna do, but you're just doing it because you went to school for it. True. Yeah. So what else you wanna say to the peeps before we bounce? I wanted to be a lawyer. But then I stopped because what do you think about lawyers? Oh, because I stopped because of church. My first career choice was law or businesswoman, but then now that church doesn't allow me to be a lawyer. Like, Bob, I changed your mind. Yeah, that's changed my mind. So yeah. Yeah. No, I think we should wrap up. I don't have anything to add. But yeah, we talked about justice for Cwecwe. We talked about King Misizulu, the Venda Kingdom. We talked about the parliament issue of the VAT and career choices. Yeah, we talked about career choices. Trump, we'll talk about him next time. Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the King's Podcast. For you kings and queens out there, it's your boy Bayuja, aka G Money, and your co-host Cleo. Yeah, we're out. Peace. See you next time. See you next time, guys.